Welcome to our interview series with Portico and Bridge, premium international immigration experts. My name is 𝐏𝐻𝐸, co-founder and CEO. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our viewers, Dr. Michaela Millo. Now, a few words about our guest today. Michaela graduated from the University of Malta, obtaining her doctorate in law. In 2008, she joined our team at Portico and Bridge, and over the years, she has vetted and submitted a large number of residency applications to Residency Malta agency. But more important, she has received a virtually clean score on the number of approvals. She is an accredited immigration lawyer in Malta, holder of license number AKM-Millo-21. Without further ado, hi, Michaela. Thank you for finding time to join our interview today. The first question that speaks to mind when we're talking about the Malta Permanent Residency and Visa Program, why does an applicant have to use the services of an accredited agent? Can't they submit the application directly to the agency?
Hi, Trevor. Thank you for the invitation. So, as per the laws of Malta, they specifically state that an individual, when they are going to submit an application for the Malta Permanent Residency Program, they have to make use services of an agent. Now, all the agents, like myself, they are all approved and licensed by the agency, and we are also authorized to guide the applicants through the whole application process and also to submit the application on behalf of the client. So to answer your question, no, the clients cannot apply directly to the Residency Malta agency.
Now, you have vast experience with regards to submitting applications and, more important, receiving approvals, because submitting applications is an easy part. Receiving the approval is the difficult part.
Okay.
And as we know, the Maltese program has a 4-year due diligence process. What should a client know before submitting an application? And what are the main or the most important points to look out for?
So, as you said, because the agency has the 4-year due diligence, first and foremost, the most important part is that the applicant must make sure that all the information provided to the licensed agent and also to the Residency Malta, they are basically complete and correct, because the agency will conduct due diligence and also will basically identify any potential risk that the clients might obviously, so that the client must make sure that any documentation is provided in its correct in its entirety, because the agency is going to look at not just the main applicant, but also the family members part of that application. So when I say that the agency is going to conduct due diligence, the searches are going to be they're going to be conducted on their corporate affiliations, any significant one-time transactions, donations, inheritance, even significant business partners and associates. So the agency does an in-depth search. So with this said, the client and also the family members which will be part of the application must be fit and proper individuals. And also, I would like to point out also that the applicants, when I say due diligence, it's for the main applicant and also dependents above the age of 14.
Okay, brilliant. I think this fact that Malta is so thorough in its checks is one of the reasons why it has attracted so many clients as well, because as the news came out today, there were over 2,273 main applications that were approved since 2016, and the agency confirmed that there was a refusal rate of 10%. So applicants understand that once they want to form part of safe, secure jurisdiction as Malta, they need to submit the right information to form part of our community. Continuing, possibly maybe giving our viewers a bit of, or our listeners and viewers both, because can you give maybe a bit more detail about the application process, the types of form needed? Does one need a health check?
Sure. So when I usually submit a client's file, I basically divide the file into 3 sections. The first part is they're going to be the government forms. So for example, there would be the application form, a form for the personal details. There's a medical form also, which the medical doctor needs to fill in. There's also a GDPR declaration form. Basically, there are a number of forms that the client has to sign and submit. Then the second part is going to be normally includes all the documents related to the source of wealth and funds of the client, which is the most crucial part of the file, because in this section there's going to be the source of wealth and fund declaration, which will lay out the income of the client and also what assets does the client have. There's going to be documents which will relate to the employment certificates and the employment background of the client. And also there's going to be included the bank statements, which obviously are a crucial part when it comes to the source of wealth and fund of the client. Then the last section of the file is going to be related to the civil documentation. So there's going to be the passport, the ID card, the birth, the marriage certificate, if any, and also the police conduct certificate and the proof of residential address. So that is the file. Then what happens is that we will submit the application to the agency. The agency will start the due diligence, and then depending on the file, if there is more clarification needed, we will submit then more documents. If not, there's going to be a letter of what is known as a letter of acceptance in principle, where the client then is approved based on the last stage, which then the client would need to settle the investment. It's either the client is issued a letter of acceptance in principle, or else a rejection. And then obviously if the client gets a letter of approval in principle, then he would need to settle the property investment, and also make the contribution to the government and the 2,000 euro donation to the NGO.
Perfect. So if I may ask, so once a client receives an acceptance letter in principle, essentially his application has been approved, subject that he conforms to certain conditions, as you mentioned, renting a property, doing the donation to an NGO. But once the client fulfills this obligation, what is the process? What happens after that stage? Because everybody seems to talk about what happens till the acceptance of letter in principle, but what happens after? There are other stages that the client has to follow.
Yeah. So then once that the client settles the investment, then obviously again the agency will do the checks on the documents which we provided. If everything is okay and the client paid the government contributions and everything is settled, then the agency will issue what is known as a letter of final approval. This would be an invitation letter for the client and any family members added to the application to come to Malta and to do their biometrics. Now, the biometrics are the fingerprints, and also the photos are taken, and then the residency cards will be issued. And that would be the final step of the process.
So is there a time limit from the date that the client receives a letter of acceptance in principle? Mm-hmm. Does he have a time frame stipulated at law where he has to do the investment, or otherwise he will lose the benefit of the acceptance letter in principle?
Yes. So once the client received the letter of acceptance in principle, he needs to settle all the investment within 8 months from the date of the letter of acceptance in principle.
Okay, perfect. So there's ample time for anyone to do the investment and handle all the issues. But
yes, correct.
As we know, the MPRP, as it's known, is one of the most popular residency by investment programs in Europe. Why do you think people choose the MPRP residency program? What, in your opinion, is the main attraction for clients?
So I think the program offers much value to clients wishing to make Malta their home away from home. That is one of the, I think, that this program, a lot of clients are attracted to this program. And because the process, the clients can obtain their permanent residency in approximately 4 to 6 months. So from the beginning of the application till the very end, it takes maximum of 6 months. Also, the clients, they have a right to settle, to stay, they can reside permanently in Malta. No language test is required. So that is also another huge advantage. Basically, they can also enjoy a visa-free travel across Schengen areas, obviously 90 out of the 180 days. And also, it's a fast and transparent approval process. Also,
if I may, sorry. Please go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And also, I want to point out that the main applicant can also include up to 4 generations in an application, where so the main applicant can add the spouse or the long-term partner, the children of both the main applicant and also of the spouse. And the main applicant can also include the parents, the grandparents, the parents-in-law, the main applicant's parents-in-law, and also the grandparents of the main applicant's spouse.
I agree. If I may add, possibly on your very detailed explanation, maybe a few more points is that it's an immediate permanent residency. So, which is, and a person receives a residency certificate from the government confirming that the residency is a permanent residency and it's indefinite as stipulated in the law. Another thing is, in my opinion, is the choice. You have either the choice to come and live amongst us Maltese, or it's a zero residency program. So there's that flexibility.
Exactly. But there's no residency requirement.
Correct. But I think the biggest point is when it comes to children, in that unmarried children can come along as dependents in the application. Maybe you can give us a bit more information on this point.
Yes. So when we submit the application, the child, yes, the adult dependent child has to be unmarried and principally dependent on the main applicant. One advantage is that once this adult child is approved and in the future the unmarried child is going to get married after the application, then the adult child can eventually add his or her spouse to the application.
Which is an extreme benefit.
Exactly. Yes, correct.
And I would presume that if they would have children, then the main applicant can add the grandchild to his application. So this is literally one investment covering a whole family, when we say literally a whole family.
Yes, correct.
Michaela, thank you very much for finding the time in your busy schedule to join us today. Thank you very much for the very informative information you've given us. If I may close for our viewers, please stay tuned for more videos in our series, where we will talk more about residency and citizenship by investment in various countries, such as the US, the EB5 program, Portugal Golden Visa program, citizenship programs such as Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua, and also the legacy, what I call the legacy immigration destinations such as Australia, the 188A, 188B, and the 888, and also Canada SUV program. Thank you very much for joining us. Until we meet again, I wish you all an excellent day.
Thank you very much, Trafford. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
Bye.